The State Weather Bureau, PAGASA, declares the official start of the dry season in the country. Malacanang assures to abide by the Freedom of Information rules after some groups request the release of documents on the China-funded Kaliwa Dam project. Wish 107.5 hailed as the best FM station during the GEMS Awards 2019. And British Prince Harry and wife Meghan plan to raise their first child in as normal a way as possible. Good evening. The Philippines Meteorological Agency announces an earlier onset of the dry season in the country. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
The water level in the country's primary dams has been decreasing recently. In fact, as of 6 a.m. today, water in Angat Dam was only around 16 meters higher than its critical level of 180 meters. The onset of the dry season this year is earlier compared with that of last year, which was declared in the month of April, according to Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration. The weather agency also noted, as early as now, the northeast monsoon is no longer affecting the country.
Dry season na po talaga.
Meanwhile, the weak El Niño in the central and eastern equatorial Pacific continues, which makes the Philippines experience below normal rainfall. Color red on the map indicates the provinces experiencing drought or more than 60% reduction of rainfall in 3 consecutive months. Some of these are the provinces of Palawan, Mindoro, the Zamboanga Peninsula, La Union, and Ilocos. Most part of the country are experiencing dry spell or 21 to 60% rainfall reduction. Davao and Caraga region are among the areas with the dry condition category due to the passing of Tropical Depression Chedeng last week. In April, 61% or around 51 provinces are seen to experience drought and 39% with dry spell. According to Department of Science and Technology Undersecretary Renato Sonidum, although the dry season has entered, rains may still be experienced.
Walang sinasabing pag-asa na zero ulan. Bababa lang. So meron pa rin makakats. Baka hindi lang doon kadami.
A tropical cyclone may also enter the Philippine area of responsibility in April, but the effects of El Niño are projected to last until June. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Department of Health reminds the public to beware of common diseases during this season. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
With the onset of the dry season as early as March, the Health Department reminds the public of the ailments common during this season with high temperature. With the scorching heat of the sun, it is inevitable to get sunburned. Health Undersecretary Eric Domingo warns against going under the sun from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yung skin diseases natin dumadami rin, mga fungal infections, kung laging pawis and then hindi tinutuyo yung balat.
It is advisable to drink plenty of water and avoid staying outdoors when it's hot for a long time to avoid heat stroke. Wear light-colored cotton clothes. Apply sunblock on the skin before going outdoors. Remember to bring an umbrella or wear a cap. Keep the surroundings clean and take a bath every day. The DOH also warns against the eye infection conjunctivitis, which is a particularly common cause of sore red eyes. It may be caused by bacteria or virus or allergies. The DOH reminds to always wash the hands with water and soap and keep them clean. Avoid touching the eyes when the hands are unclean. When one perspires a lot due to too much heat, remember to wipe the skin dry, and changing clothes with dry ones is also recommendable. Undersecretary Domingo also warns that the heat may affect the shelf life of food.
Yung pagkain na iiwan sa mainit ng matagal, pagkatapos nagkakaroon siya ng mga mikrobyo, maaari tayong magkasakit, nagkakaroon ng diarrhea, ng pagsusuka, at nagiging cause din ito ng pagkaka-ospital ng marami nating kababayan.
Here are more reminders from the DOH to avoid getting sick this dry season. Maintain a healthy body by eating nutritious foods and by taking vitamins such as vitamin C. Avoid going to crowded places. Cover the mouth and nose when one is sick to prevent transmission of the disease. Parents are advised to keep their children away from animals such as dogs and cats to prevent animal bites. Anti-rabies vaccination is also highly advisable. Mirasol Abugadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Tribe groups have expressed they are not in favor of the construction of the Kaliwa Dam project. Joan Nano tells us why.
Several groups of the Dumaga tribe from Infanta and Nagcarlan, Quezon went in front of the Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System or MWSS office in Katipunan Avenue in Quezon City earlier today. The groups expressed opposition to the establishment of the China-funded Kaliwa Dam.
Pag naitayo po ang dambuhalang dam na siyam na yan, wala na po kaming pupuntahang lugar. Hindi naman po kami sanay na tumira sa ganitong syudad at sa kabundukan po talaga. Dahil paano na pong mawala na yung aming tirahan, wala na rin po kaming ikabubuhay na mga katutubo.
The MWSS earlier said that the public's concerns over Kaliwa Dam are baseless since it has been studied by technical experts. Despite oppositions, the MWSS stands firm the construction of the controversial dam, which is expected to provide additional water supply in Metro Manila, will continue.
Ang Kaliwa Dam that we are going to start was conceived during the Marcos administration, and it's only now that's going to happen. Knowing the source, the demand, and the need for water sources, we are now doubling our time.
Meanwhile, Malacanang commits not to hide anything from the public over the controversial project. Executive Secretary Salvador Meljaldea made this assurance after he received a letter from opposition senatorial candidate Attorney Shel Jokno and other groups who opposed the construction of the dam. Jokno has sent a copy of his letter to Meljaldea and Foreign Affairs Secretary Chodoro Locsin Jr. requesting them to release the documents on the project contract in accordance with the Freedom of Information or FOI. Jokno said this is to check if there are any onerous provisions in the agreement with China on the project. In a message, Meljaldea assured that Malacanang is ready to release the documents on the Kaliwa Dam project as long as it is covered by the executive order signed by President Rodrigo Duterte on the Freedom of Information. Located in Quezon Province, the Kaliwa Dam project is expected to supply Metro Manila an additional 600 million liters of water per day. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Duterte administration is determined to start the construction of new Centennial water source Kaliwa Dam project as it is already a done deal. However, there are possible sacrifices as well as there are benefits in the government's dam project. Nel Maribohok tells us why.
The Sierra Madre mountain range runs from the provinces of Rizal to Quezon. In these areas, nature and its natural resources are taken care of by indigenous people. However, residents surrounding the area are worried over the government's plan to construct the new Centennial water resource Kaliwa Dam project, which will be built on Kaliwa River in General Nakar, Quezon.
Itong aming daan, pag iyan po ay naabot nung sinasabing label ng dam, di lulubog yan, ay paano na kami? Kung hindi kami magbangka, mabuti kung may bangka.
Yung lupa namin kasama hagip sa lulubog, paano po naman kami, yun na, doon kami nabubuhay.
According to Marcelino Tena, the president of Samahan ng mga katutubong Agta and Dumagat, the MWSS is apparently rushing the project without considering the welfare of the indigenous groups.
Pinapraso na kami ng MWSS para doon sa pagtayo ng dam. Gusto nila i-construction agad ang dam na wala pa man lang, hindi pa namin alam kung ano yung kanilang proyektong dam.
Based on data, 424 households will be affected by the construction of Kaliwa Dam. The residents of Barangay Daraitan in Tanay Rizal, for instance, have expressed their worries due to the possible rise in the water level of the river where the dam will be situated, which is just kilometers away from their area. The MWSS is now completing its permits to begin the project. These include the clearance from the indigenous people given that their ancestral domain will be affected by the dam project. With the approval of the project, the proposal of the Japanese firm Global Utility Development Corporation, or GUDC, has resurfaced. GUDC is said to have a cheaper and environmentally friendly offer, which will serve as an alternative to Kaliwa Dam project. The said proposal was presented to the Philippine government a decade ago. The plan is to build weir 7 meters high which can supply 550 million liters per day compared to a 62 meters high dam that can supply 600 million liters per day. According to GUDC, their $410 million offer is cheaper compared with the $800 million MWSS dam project. The said project has no burden for the government and will just be under the 25-year Build, Operate, Transfer scheme. Compared with the China-funded projects with loan of 2% interest rate, the Japanese proposal of weir can be finished within the term of President Duterte, which is faster than the dam project. But why did the government not approve it?
Hindi sustainable. Baka tagtuyot, baka wala siyang tubig. Sayang din. Bakit ka maglagay ng dam, walang tubig?
According to MWSS, contrary to what GUDC data, the dam project is cheaper, costing 12.2 billion pesos or $248 million. On May 29, 2014, the new Centennial water source Kaliwa Dam project was approved by former President Benigno Aquino III. The timeline for the implementation of the project was cleared after the signing of loan agreement between President Rodrigo Duterte and Chinese President Xi Jinping during his state visit in the Philippines last November 2018. This is what the MWSS insists and behind their disapproval.
Pirmado na yan. Tagal na. Nung dumating dito si President ng China, tapos na yan. Pirmado na yan.
The said loan agreement is published on the government website for transparency. Inside the agreements are the terms and conditions of the loan. The MWSS is just waiting for the dam's engineering design. The implementing agency also assured the affected families and groups they will not start the project if there are problems with the relocation efforts. Nel Maribujo, UNTV News and Rescue, General Nakar, Quezon.
Wish 107.5 has been hailed as the best FM station during the GEMS Awards 2019. Mirasol Abogadil will tell us why.
It is no surprise why Wish FM, spearheaded by Kuya Daniel Rezon, already won numerous awards despite being in its early years. During the third GEMS Hiyas ng Sining Awards 2019, held at the Center for Performing Arts in Muntinlupa City, Wish FM was recognized as the best FM station in the country.
Para sa iba na dekada na ang binilang, ngunit nang gulat sila sa mga tagapakinig sa paraan at estilo nilang kaibig-ibig. Nasapul agad nila ang pulso ng masa, di lang ng mga sosyal at may pihikang panlasa. Kahit saan mang dako, stasyon nila ay bukang bibig. Sa musika at tinig nilang nakakakilig. Para sa ating best radio station FM, Wish FM 107.5.
Since it hit the airwaves in 2014, it already struck the hearts of music lovers. Wish 107.5 changed the stage in performing hit songs after the first and only mobile radio booth in the country, the Wish Bus, was launched. Local artists across the country were also given the opportunity to show off their talents, not only in the Philippines, but also abroad. Whether you're already a veteran in the music industry or just starting, Wish 107.5 provides equal opportunity to share your music. The Wish YouTube channel has also become an online favorite because of its sound and video quality. Many featured artists already gained millions of views. The Wish 107.5 representatives DJ Faye and DJ Adam are grateful for the support of the listeners and vows to continue providing a unique experience when it comes to listening to music.
Maraming salamat sa GEMS Awards and sa De La Salle Isabel para sa parangal na to. Nakakataba ng puso kasi yung mga taong katulad yung inspirasyon namin sa ginagawa namin.
Maraming salamat sa GEMS and also major props to all the people behind the scenes from the sound tech guys, yung mga video editors and all that. Like lahat tayo talagang collective effort to attain the success, and recognition. So to God be the glory.
Whispering Wish. 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 107.5.
Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
Royals Prince Harry and wife Meghan are planning on raising their first child in as normal a way as possible. Here's Kath Dumaraos to tell us why.
Wearing his army fatigues while on tour in Afghanistan in 2013, thousands of miles from home, Britain's Prince Harry cut a relaxed figure as he told journalists that he is one of the guys and he don't get treated any differently. Now with the birth of his first child expected next month, Queen Elizabeth's grandson and his wife Meghan will have to decide how normal a life they want the future seventh in line to the British crown to have.
I don't think there's been a member of the royal family that hasn't said they want their children to have a normal upbringing. Even the Queen said she wanted her children to have as normal an upbringing as possible. But with the media attention, it's actually not possible to have a totally normal upbringing.
Harry is all too familiar with the attention that comes with being a British royal. The disintegration of the marriage of his parents' heir to the throne, Prince Charles, and his late first wife Diana, was played out in the public glare, and his mother was killed in a Paris car crash in 1997 as the limousine carrying her and her lover Dodi Al-Fayed crashed as it fled chasing paparazzi. In the last 2 years, Harry has spoken openly of his mental anguish at the loss of his mother when he was just 12 and how in the years that followed he struggled with his royal status. Diana had been keen that her two sons should be brought up away from the stuffy confines of royal palaces and their traditions. She took them on trips to the cinema, to McDonald's, and to a theme park. But how realistic is Harry's wish? Paul suggests he is one of the most popular British royals, vying with the 92-year-old Queen and his elder brother William for top spot, and his marriage to a glamorous Hollywood actress has only increased the media and public fascination.
I can't see this child being raised any other way than pretty traditionally, and with a great dollop of privilege.
Meghan, whose rift with members of her own family has provided great fodder for tabloids, giving her a clear insight into the baggage that being a royal brings, has not made any public statement about the possible upbringing for the baby. But speeches made by Harry since the pregnancy was announced have hinted how they do not want their child not be valued on their royal background. As well as his own upbringing, Harry and Meghan can look to the experiences of other royals. William has fiercely sought to defend the privacy of his children, George, Charlotte, and Louise, and so far, the media have generally abided by requests to leave them alone. Royal author Jobson said whatever Harry and Meghan aims, it will be almost impossible for their child to completely escape his or her background.
And I believe this child probably won't have to serve as a member of the royal family, but will certainly be a celebrity for a very, very long time.
Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Angelo Castro III left off. I am William Theo, and here are the headlines. Former Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales says there is no need to seek for government permission in filing communication case over alleged crimes against humanity committed by China. CPP founder Maria Sison warns of intensifying war against the Philippine government after President Rodrigo Duterte announced the permanent termination of peace talks. President Rodrigo Duterte bans government officials and employees from travel junkets and team-building activities abroad. And oil prices likely to go up again next week. Communist Party of the Philippines founder and National Democratic Front of the Philippines chief political consultant Jose Maria Sison warns of intensifying war against the government. This after President Rodrigo Duterte announced a permanent termination of peace talks. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Communist Party of the Philippines or CPP founder Jose Maria Sison hits President Rodrigo Duterte after the chief executive permanently terminated the peace negotiations between the Philippine government and the National Democratic Front of the Philippines or NDFP. It was on Thursday night when the president made the formal announcement.
I am officially announcing the permanent termination of our talks between the government panel and the Communist Party of the Philippines. I am no longer entertaining any interventions or maybe persuasions in this democratic state of the Republic of the Philippines. My sense is that you can maybe talk to the next president of this republic one day.
In a statement, Sison said the peace negotiations can be reopened with another administration since President Duterte will not be in his post for a long time. He added that the revolutionary forces are left with no other choice but to wage and intensify the people's war. Recently, the Duterte administration has terminated the appointment of the members of the government negotiating panel led by Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III. However, the Office of the Presidential Peace Advisor Carlito Galvez, as well as Malacanang, clarified this is in preparation for the inclusive panels to be formed for the localized peace talks. But Maria Sison believes the localized peace negotiations are fake as this will be controlled by the military. Rosa Licoz, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
President Rodrigo Duterte has banned government officials and employees from travel junkets and team building activities outside of the country. Section 19 of the Executive Order number 77 signed on March 15 states that all forms of travel junkets shall be strictly prohibited. The conduct of strategic planning workshops or team building activities abroad shall not be allowed. The president also emphasized in the EO that the taking of a personal leave immediately before or after the official activity is highly discouraged, and if travel circumstances such as the nature of activity, purpose, and itinerary indicate that the trip is mainly intended for personal purposes, no part thereof shall be considered official. The order also required all cabinet secretaries, chairpersons, and board members of government-owned and controlled corporations or GOCCs and heads of national government agencies to get the president's approval for their official travels abroad. Meanwhile, the circumstances of the death of Cebu teenager Christine Lee Salawa in Cebu is still blanketed with unanswered questions. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
Based on the result of the autopsy conducted by the Philippine National Police Crime Laboratory Region 7, Christine Lee Salawa sustained 20 stab wounds on different body parts, including 1 in the left leg and 9 in both sides of her body.
When we examine the victim, visible na yung vertebra niya, yung backbone ng neck, no? Visible na yun. So wala na yung trachea, wala na yung esophagus, wala na yung musculature on the right side of the neck, wala na rin yung dila.
But Dr. Benjamin Lara of the PNP Crime Lab Region 7 clarified Christine's heart, lungs, and kidneys were intact. Based on the investigation, results indicate that the teen defended herself because of the wounds authorities found in her hands.
The fact na marami siyang injury sa kamay and she had a very deep and long incision on the left palm, no? So those are indicative of struggle, no? Nananlaban, lumaban yung bata.
Also based on the victim's wounds, authorities are not discounting the possibility of post-mortem animal predation. But why the peeling off of the victim's facial skin had been carefully done remains a mystery for authorities, saying that could not have been done by an animal. The medical legal officer is also convinced the perpetrator has an expertise in what he did because no muscle was left on the victim's skull.
Pero if this was purposely done, all I can say is that it was carefully and meticulously done. No, kasi talagang talagang strict talaga yung laman, walang natirang laman ni konti. It's possible na marunong yung gumawa.
Meanwhile, for Dr. Camille Garcia, a psychologist, jealousy and possessiveness could be the motives in the killing. She cited that people who had been battered, bullied, and abused severely during childhood might have such motives. Dr. Garcia added there are people with a criminal mind.
Ito yung mga talagang pang-tipong serial killer. So, parang sa kanila, it's a form of satisfaction when they do something na parang karumal-dumal para sa ibang tao because of the sociopath thing at saka yung pagiging psychopath.
The psychologist noted this is likely the condition of the person who did the recent heinous crime in Cebu. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A huge percentage of energy the country uses comes from power plants that operate through either oil or coal, which, according to studies, cause damages to nature. But the Philippines is rich enough to produce energy from alternative sources. Niña Armilio will tell us why.
Situated near the Bangi Bay, just in front of the West Philippine Sea, is the Bangi Windmill Farm. Through its 20 turbines, each with 3 vertical rotor blades, standing 70 meters high above the shore, it provides 50% or 33 megawatts of Ilocos Norte's electricity. Each turbine costs 1.5 to 1.8 billion pesos with a lifespan of 25 years.
Yung phase 1 namin, that has been there since 2005. So it's been there for 14 years already. 14 years, but it's still running.
This source of renewable energy does not cause pollution in the environment, unlike power plants powered by crude oil and coal.
Basically, it's good for the environment, right? So the lesser fuel that we have, oil, the lesser coal that we have, it's better for the community, it's better for the Philippines, because we are able to provide power cleanly.
This windmill farm in the town of Bangi is operated by the North Wind Power Development Corporation. Residents say the windmill can address the need for power supply in their town.
Una, ay madalas na mag-brown out, pero ngayon, bihira na lang sa...
The Bangi Windmill Farm has also been a famous tourism and sustainable attraction. In Bataan, it has been over 30 years since the Bataan nuclear power plant was constructed in the town of Morong. It has the title of being the first nuclear power plant in the country, built during the administration of former President Ferdinand Marcos. Based on the original design, the power plant uses uranium to produce steam to power the turbines and create electricity. It was closed in 1986 following nuclear power plant accidents in the USA in 1979 and in Russia in 1986. But in 2016, there were proposals to reopen the Bataan nuclear power plant. For residents near it, reoperating the power plant will be beneficial.
Okay yun. Yung mga, siyempre, mababang babayaran. Yung magkakaroon ng mga trabaho rin mga tao dito. Mga tagawalis man lang ng mga paligid doon.
Kung talagang bababa ang kuryente namin, mas okay sa akin. Kasi, syempre, mas maganda yun. Makakabawas sa namin sa gastos.
Based on studies, if the Bataan nuclear power plant were to be opened, it could produce 10% of the demands for electricity in the entire Luzon region. And in Laguna, the first ever power plant constructed by the National Power Corporation is located in Lumban, Laguna, called the Kaliwa Hydroelectric Power Plant. It can generate up to 728 megawatts of electricity with the ability to supply electricity from Laguna to Bicol through electric cooperatives. Although the power plant is situated in their barangay, residents say their electricity is not obtained for free. But the good thing is, the power plant has brought jobs to locals.
Ngayon po may nagpipinta dyan na yung mga taga rito po sa amin ng ibang nakukuha. Po marami pong security guard na taga rito sa amin na dyan mga na-duty.
The town also benefits from the taxes paid by the Kaliwa Dam operator.
Mas malaki ang share mo lalo na sa pagbabayad ng business tax. At meron ding national wealth tax kaming nakukuha sa paggamit ng likas na yaman nitong hydroelectric power plant. At ang likas na yaman nito ay yung tubig mismo na siyang nagpo-produce ng kuryente.
The Philippines is indeed rich in natural resources which can be alternative sources of energy. Water, wind, the sun, all sources of natural energy which does not cause damage to nature. What's surprising is that despite the Philippines' natural wealth, the country still experiences power shortages, not to mention the country being the second in Asia with the most expensive electricity. Niña Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Farmers in the municipality of Sibalom in Antique province are now experiencing the benefits of the solar-powered irrigation system built by the Department of Agriculture. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
The Philippines is the 8th largest rice producer in the world, accounting for 2.8% of global rice production. Based on data from the Philippine Rice Research Institute in 2017, the Philippines achieved its highest rice production at 19.3 million metric tons. With the government's objective to aid local farmers increase their yield, the Department of Agriculture built a solar-powered irrigation system in Sibalom, Antique, where rice fields consist approximately 20% of the land in the municipality.
Ang solar-powered irrigation system na ito ay may 100 solar panels na kayang makalikha ng hanggang 27 kilowatts ng kuryente. Kaya nitong patubigan ang 10 ektarya ng lupain kada araw.
Ang target natin sa production sa first cropping and the second cropping, mag-increase na siya by from 3.7, posible sir malabot natin is 4.2 to 4.5.
So halos parang 20%.
Mga 20%, sir. Yes, sir.
A big portion of the fields is still rain-fed or dependent to rain and weather, something that adds burden and gives uncertainty to farmers, especially when they are affected by the El Niño phenomenon.
Sa pamagitan lang po ng water pump o bumba sa patubig at umaasa lang po sa ulan ng ating klima o ginatawag natin na sahod ulan. Nagadepende lang po sa klima ng ating panahon.
With the irrigation system operational, which began in February, it is expected local farmers will begin to increase their harvest for this year. The local government of Sibalom, Antique now plans to implement the same project to other barangays in their municipality.
Hanap ako ng budget mismo sa lokal na kami mismo ang magpifinance para madagdagan namin ang ganitong project dito sa bayan namin.
The Department of Agriculture plans to build solar-powered irrigation in 3 other municipalities in Antique. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Antique.
Motorists may have to shell out more money next week as local oil firms announce another possible round of price hikes. Oil industry players estimate the price of gasoline to increase by 70 to 75 centavos per liter and diesel by 10 to 15 centavos a liter. If it pushes through, this would be the 7th consecutive week that local pump prices have increased. Up next on Y News. Blast at Chinese chemical plant kills 47, injures over 600. Millions of Facebook user passwords exposed to employees. And lost your button in New York? Don't worry, the shop will solve your problem. Y News will be right back after this quick break.